No, you keep that on. All right. Okay, good evening. Welcome to the December 17, 2024 voting meeting of the Exeter Township School Board. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Fike, could you take roll call, please?
Jason Mill,
Here.
Julia Schaefer,
Here.
Deborah Bloom,
Here.
Dr. Andrew Battler,
Here.
John Fiddler,
Here.
Dr. Ann Herring,
Present.
Timothy Morgan,
Here.
Travis Odom,
Here.
Allison Wilson,
Here.
all present.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fike. In addition to the 9 board members in attendance this evening, we're also joined at the board table by our solicitor, Sharon Montaigne, and members of the school district administration, including Princess Peach, superintendent, Mrs. Dawn Harris, assistant superintendent, Dr. Josh Hoyt, director of teaching and learning, Mrs. Diane Skornovaki, director of human resources, and Mr. Brian Fike, who serves as our business administrator and board secretary. All right, superintendent's report with Dr. Haller.
So I'd like to thank the board for celebrating my birthday and giving me this lovely sash and making me wear this crown. I will say that this is probably payback in some form or fashion because I was able to orchestrate having the football players come down and sing to Mr. Bauer earlier this week. So I probably do deserve this, right, Mr. Bauer, as he's sitting back there? That's right, that's right. But in all seriousness, thank you very much. So for my board report tonight, first of all, I'd like to say thank you and congratulations to our music department for the outstanding winter concerts that they have been putting on for the last 2 weeks. I've been able to attend several of them, including one at the high school last week. If you closed your eyes, you would think you were listening to professional musicians. They are just simply outstanding. And having had the opportunity to also be at the Jackson Wall concert and seeing them when they're just starting off and as 3rd and 4th graders, and then the progression to what happens in high school is just amazing, and a tribute to the dedication and just the talent of our music department, and to our parents who support our music program, and the board who year after year supports our music program, because it is very special here in Exeter. I also like to thank Ange Cook and ECEF for the event that they hosted on Monday night. I have Ange here to talk about this. We are very fortunate in Exeter to have, are you flinging? She's flinging frosting. It's all over.
Mrs. Cook, if you'd like to.
It's all over. And so they hosted the sneaker event and Shop with the Teacher on Monday night. Big thank you to Boscov's for hosting the event. They donate $20 or $50 for 20 of our students. There's also private donors that contribute, and at the end of the night, there was 35 students who received $100 to shop for their family, as well as a brand new pair of sneakers. I also like to thank Senator Schwenk for participating in the event. She came and she assisted in wrapping presents with our staff, who also came to support the event. So it was an amazing night. So I'm going to turn it over to Anne to talk a little bit about ECEF, their role in supporting our students and our district in general, and some fun things, upcoming things that she has planned.
Thank you. I'm Ange Cook, Executive Director for ECEF. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight with updates about what we've been up to. It's been a really great year, and we're just so thankful for all the support from the community and administration and the school board, and especially to our donors. We're really just a conduit for the kindness and generosity of those donors and their support for this school district, and because of them, ECEF was able to provide over $96,000 in direct support to the school district just this year. This year, excuse me, our EITC donations grew exponentially from 32,500 in 2023 to 87,000 this year, which is really mind-blowing to me. I've discussed in the past, it's a state-run program, the EITC program, and it allows us to use that money for very specific approved programs. And we were able to start a really special project this year that we're calling in the Eagle Hallway at the senior high school for their Crossroads program that expands their coffee business into a real-life cafe with tables and booths and a brand-new coffee bar and a point-of-sale system. The team at the high school is still working on the logistics to roll that out slowly, but we're very excited to give these students in the Crossroads program this opportunity for on-the-job training right there in their school. A side benefit to the cafe is that other groups can also use the space collaboratively and work on projects or have group meetings. The project was completed in partnership with Corbett Inc., and they have done a really fabulous job working with us to bring the vision to life. I'd like to recognize our EITC donors this year. They were Mid-Penn Bank, Mail Shark, East Penn Manufacturing, Customers Bank, Tompkins Community Bank, JP Mascaro & Sons, and Wyomissing Optometric Center. And huge thank you to them for the amazing opportunity for all of us. Additionally, we were able to purchase 3 large hydroponics units from Fork Farms thanks to a $15,500 grant from the American Water Charitable Foundation. There's 1 unit set up in each of our K-4 buildings, and they're already producing some great things. I know Jackson Wald harvested a huge amount of lettuce and basil already, and the other 2 buildings are growing produce as well. So we're really excited to hopefully expand this program in '25 because it's a really great chance for the students to grow food and learn everything that goes into sustainable food sourcing at the same time. We also awarded nearly $6,000 in teacher mini grants to teachers in 2024 and over $9,000 in support to our student outreach initiative, which remains a really vital means of assistance for students who need a hand up for many various reasons. I'm excited to announce that in 2025, ECEF is going to roll out a new committee called the Student Ambassador Program. This committee will be student-centric, and because the whole purpose of ECEF is to support students, we felt it would be very beneficial to us to include them in what we're doing and also give them experience in the nonprofit world and allow them to give back to their own student community. We're in the planning stage of this new program, so as more details are ready, we'll share with everyone. We had 3 really great events this year: our 3rd annual Food Truck Festival, our 16th annual golf outing, and our 2nd annual gala, which was a really amazing night last month. But my favorite event each year is our Shop with a Teacher, which we just held for the 4th year in a row last Monday. All of our other events are obviously very special to us, but Shop with a Teacher is different. We aren't there to fundraise or to network, but to completely give to students who could use a little extra special holiday cheer. We hosted 35 students at Boscov's East and provided them with $100 gift cards each to shop for loved ones or themselves. They shopped with a teacher or administrator from their building, and after their purchases were made, we had volunteers on hand to wrap each gift. We also purchased a brand new pair of sneakers for each shopper using grant funds received for a sneaker event that we ultimately paired with Shop with a Teacher. Those sneakers were wrapped for each student, in addition to them being able to take personal care items, socks, backpacks if needed. We also had refreshments for the families, and thanks to a partnership with Mo's of Wyomissing, each student took home a meal kit. I know the phrase can be overused, it takes a village, but Shop with a Teacher really does take a village. We couldn't do it without the help of many, including grants from the Wawa Foundation, donations from Stonersville Social Club, North Star UMC, Berks Hometown Heroes, AIG, European Motors, and of course Boscov's. Our Exeter community really came through strong for us with so many donations from our Amazon wish list for personal care items. And we also had 15 of our students sponsored for the event by community members. We're so thankful to our continued donors who provide financial support to student outreach because they truly believe in the purpose of what the program is all about. I'd also like to thank our many volunteers and gift wrappers, and an extra big thanks to Senator Judy Schwenk for joining us to help. So many thanks to Alicia Leonard, Ashley Reinhardt, and Emily Seeberger for their really pivotal role in making sure that this event happens each year. And of course, to our shopper volunteers. I can't thank you enough. When our students remember this night years from now, they're going to remember you and how you made the event special and fun for them. So again, many, many thanks to our special village for making this night possible. We have a lot planned for this coming year, including repeats of all of the usuals. And we'll also be hosting a 5K run in April to celebrate Owatton's Mrs. Achenbach qualifying for the Boston Marathon this year. So be on the lookout for all of that information. And I think we're wrapping this with a video made by senior Richter Bogus, who highlighted what ECEF has done through the years for tech ed at the high school.
Hi, my name's John Rugg. I'm a tech ed teacher here at the high school and the department head, grades 7 through 12. We're making this video to thank ECEF for all of their generous donations to our program. What you see behind me here are some of the 3D printers that they've donated. And generally, on average, probably 200 to 250 students in several different classes across all of our curriculum use these year in and year out. The greatest part about all the stuff that they've donated is it's modern prototyping equipment that kids can use to help prepare them for essentially 21st century careers. We can't thank ECEF enough for their continued support and allowing students access to these types of machines and tools.
My name is Victor Bogus. I'm a senior here at the high school. I have been extremely involved in the tech ed department since I've been a freshman in a variety of classes and a bunch of clubs, including TSA, now I'm TSA president, PE Governor STEM, and a bunch of other stuff. These machines are amazing to allow us to be creative and prototype a final product of our projects. We were able to design something for one of our projects and use the 3D printers and laser engravers to help create the prototype in ways that we would never have been able to do without these amazing machines. We are then able to proudly submit these projects for a grade or for a competition and be confident that we'll do well. 3D printers and laser engravers are becoming exponentially more popular in the engineering, manufacturing, and technology industries. So it is amazing that we are able to already use them to get experience and become confident using them as high school students.
We use a laser engraving machine pretty heavily in the wood shop. One of the things that we do with it is the kids will use it to put an eagle head brand on the bottom of their projects that helps to identify that it came from our wood shop, as well as the student's name who's making the project. Students can also use the laser engraving machine to take simple internet images and engrave them onto their projects so they can use them to customize them with artwork and logos or pictures that they bring in, which helps to really individualize and customize the projects. And a lot of kids really rely on that and do a good job with that. Some of the other things that we do with the laser engraving machine is our capstone kids use it a lot for mock-ups and layouts for some of their capstone projects. And then we use the 3D printers a great deal with our engineering kids. Our intro kids use them for projects like the mini car project and the fidget spinner project, where they're using 3D modeling software to create parts that are going to be manufactured directly on the 3D printers. We also rely on them pretty heavily in our second level and our capstone projects to, again, 3D model and then be able to 3D print custom parts for those students' projects. The ECF has also given us numerous grants to help support some of our extracurriculars, like our Technology Student Association, as well as our PA Governor STEM team. And we use some of their funds to purchase robotics kits for different events that we do with some of the schools.
Hi, my name is Harper Adams. I'm interning for the metal shop teacher at Exeter Township Senior High School. The 3D printers have been a wonderful aspect of working in the metal shop. I've used them to create numerous jewelry projects and small sculptures. The detailed and precise quality of work that these machines provide us is unmatched by any other in the metal shop. They allow us to let our creativity shine. 3D printers do a great job of exposing students to what it would be like to work in the CAD and prototyping industry. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to use these resources.
Thank you.
So I'd just like to thank ECEF and Ange Cook, who is the executive director, for everything that they do for the school district, for our students. There is really no way that we would be able to do half of the things that we are currently doing without their funding. All those things that you saw in that video were all purchased by ECEF, either grant money or through EITC funds, and that did not come out of our general budget. But obviously, you can see from that video the way that it enhances our academic programs for our students. So thank you for everything that you do for our students.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Haller. Thank you, Mrs. Cook. Public comments on agenda items. No one has signed up unless someone would like to come up and speak. All right, seeing none, I'm going to move on. Next is board meeting minutes. If there are no objections, we'll adopt a motion to approve meeting minutes from the November 4th, 2024 special voting meeting, the November 4th, 2024 committee of the whole meeting, and the November 19th, 2024 board voting meeting.
Mr. Mell,
Yes, sir.
I have no objections, but I would like to comment on one item that caught my eye, and that is our lady wrestlers will be traveling to Ocean City, Maryland, to participate in the 2025 War on the Shore, January 3rd and 4th, and I just want to wish them well.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Fiddler. Okay. Hearing no objections, the minutes are approved. Treasurer's report and payment requests. If there are no objections, we'll adopt a motion to approve the November 2024 Treasurer's report and payment request dated November 18, 2024 to December 17, 2024. Okay, hearing no objections, the Treasurer's report and payment requests are approved. We're going to move on to committees. Education with Mrs. Wilson. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it out of order? The order might have changed from the last time. Is it personnel with Dr. Hearing? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You sure? Okay. It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves or ratifies the following personnel items, and please note any items in bold have been added or changed since the committee of the whole meeting. 1, resignation. 2, retirement, and I'd like to highlight Julianne Burton from the senior high school English teacher, retiring effective the end of 24-25 school year with 35 years of service. 3 appointments. 4 transfers. 5 change of status. 6 additional assignments. And 7 leave of absence.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approve the change in the longevity pay language in the collective bargaining agreement to top-of-scale payment. This language change will not impact the terms of the 22 to 26 collective bargaining agreement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I do want to note that I will be abstaining from this due to conflict with my spouse being in the ETEA. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I abstain.
And lastly, the attached list of course requests.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
And that's everything, Mr. Mel.
Thank you, Dr. Hearing.
Mr. Mel, we would just like to recognize Melissa Taylor, who's in the audience with her husband and their son, and welcome her to Exeter administration. So we're just very excited to have Melissa come join us as the AP at the junior high.
Thank you guys for having me. Excited to be here. Thank you.
Okay, now Mrs. Wilson, Education Committee.
Yes. A and B are just both informational. First is the enrollment report, and then B is field trips with
The things in bolded have been added since the cow. Any questions on those? Okay, then it is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the following Education Committee items 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
That's everything for me. I just wanted to add I'm excited to be the new chair of the Education Committee and work with everybody on this new committee. So thank you.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to Finance and Audit Committee, Mr. Morgan.
It is recommended the Board of School Directors approves the fiscal year 24-25 IDEA-B Special Education Grants to State Program Agreement with the BCIU for a total of $760,316.18 and authorizes the district administration to execute the agreement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question, I guess for someone in the administration. Is this something new, something repeated?
It's annual.
Annual.
It's normally earlier in the year, I'm not sure why
Oh, that's why it threw me off.
it
Okay.
came through this late.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
It is recommended that the Board of School Directors exonerates the penalty and interest for the 2024 school real estate tax for parcel number 43532506382870C42. The principal amount is to be paid.
Second.
Thank you. I missed that parcel number. Would you mind repeating that, Mr. Moore?
If you'd like, I can.
Just kidding. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I have a question. I don't know how often these come through. Do we have a history?
The last time a request had come to the board for this and actually had action on was December 2020.
2020.
Yeah, so
And-
it is rare.
And is there a policy that guides our decision-making with these?
The policy is it has to go to the board. There's no,
Okay, but I mean, once it gets to us, are we applying the same criteria for each request? In other words, what is guiding our decision tonight? And what guided it in 2020?
I would let
So-
the
Yeah.
solicitor talk about that.
You actually don't have a preset standard sort of criteria that you use, which is okay. That's
Oh,
fine.
all right.
These kinds of special exceptions are always very unique situations. And it is at the board's discretion to grant some or part of a requested amount of relief. Typically, the principal amount is never waived. Depending on the circumstances and the specific facts, the penalties and interest can occasionally be waived.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
And how much is the amount for this penalty and interest? Do we know?
I believe if I remember, it's just a little bit over 200. There's no actual interest because it was actually the current bill, so it's just a penalty.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
Mr. Mull, that is all for me.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Facilities and Transportation Committee, Dr. Badler.
Thank you, Mr. Mell. It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the following facilities and transportation items. The purchase of 4 new buses from Brightbill Body Works through the Sourcewell purchasing contract. The buses will be purchased through a capital lease agreement. The length of the agreement is 5 years. The district will make an annual payment.
Second.
Okay. And are you doing a consent, or are you separating them out, Dr. Badler?
I was separating them, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.
It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the replacement of the senior high school stadium turf by Field Turf USA, Inc. through the Keystone Purchasing Network contract, excuse me.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do have a question. My understanding is that the money for this is in hand, but I'm wondering if we could get Mr. Fike to just briefly review that, not only for me, but for the public.
Okay. If you remember when we were looking at capital projects, I broke everything that's 15-year life or less than 15 years. We've been setting aside money every year for certain things that I call operational capital, which is to be operational capital, because to me, if you're going to borrow bonds, you want it to, the life of the whatever you're purchasing is more than the length of the bonds. So this would not qualify under the bonds we borrowed. So I actually had, when I look back a year and a half ago, we were projecting this to be about $700,000 because the last time it was replaced was 11 years ago. It was 520-some thousand. This one came in at 586, so surprisingly it didn't go up as much as I thought it would, but we were conservative in our figures about 700,000. So this is sitting there, knowing that would be between anywhere from 10 to 15 years. And as you know, our fields are used more than normal, so you're at the bottom end. They only warrant the fields for 8 years, but usually you can get between 10 and 15 years out of them.
Mr. Fiddler, if I could just thank one of our grounds people. He's here with us tonight, Anthony Bourne. He was actually created a map for Tom Legath this evening to show divots and tears so we could take the board around to see it. He's one of our grounds people who takes care of it and does the sweeping of it, and so he's very familiar with the wear and tear of that field, and he came tonight in case you had any questions about that. So I just want to recognize that he took time from his own personal time to come here in case you guys had any questions. So thank you, Anthony.
So I have a couple things, if that's okay.
Can I just make one quick comment? All those things have been repaired, but it's more and more each year. Okay, we do not allow the kids on an unsafe surface. We make sure it's fixed.
Like Dr. Heller said, we did have the opportunity to walk around today. I mean, it is clear that it is at end of life. I think we've been in situations before where we've kicked the can down the road. I think we've all agreed throughout the last several years that that's not something that we could continue to do, hence why we did all the improvements over the last year with the loan we took out. We knew that this was expected at the time. This is more for the community's benefit. We did ask for some information this week from administration. I'd like to share that. That specific stadium brings in $35,000 in rentals every year in the last year, $64,000 in ticket sales, for a total of $99,000 approximately, with a $6,000 maintenance cost. So that's plus $93,000. If you divide out the $580, almost $7,000 for this field throughout the 11 years of life that we got in the last time, that's an average of about $53,000 a year and change, which still leaves the district in profit revenue of almost $40,000 a year. So, you know, this is, I mean, we know that it's an end of life and we have to do it, but I think it's important that the community knows that the field is paying for itself based on revenue that we're receiving as a result of the stadium being there.
Yeah, I just want to add, several board members, as Dr. Heller indicated, had toured the turf. You know, I don't think any of us take these decisions lightly to make these large expenditures, but I mean, I can attest to it firsthand as we were looking at the turf. It is in rough shape. It is exhausted or near exhausted its useful life. And I, as much as nobody wants to spend this money, I think unfortunately this is something that needs to be maintained, and we do need to, in my opinion, need to move forward with it and get the new turf purchased and put in. So that's all I had to say.
If I may, I agree with Mr. Mel and Mr. Morgan. I saw it as well, and I definitely think this needs to happen. But as a side question, Mrs. Schaefer had recommended that we discuss increasing the rental fees. What is the procedure for the board moving forward with something like that? Where does that come from?
If you would like for us to investigate rental fees, we will certainly do that. I don't think it would be a problem to raise the rental fees. However, if we raise them, there is the potential then people won't rent it. And so, because we're raising the rental fees. So
When was the
that's-
last time we raised the rental fees?
Probably about 2009. That's what I shared with the board. So I know that that's a concern of Mr. Legath, because there's really only a couple people that rent the field, like one of the soccer teams. But we can certainly investigate that and bring it back to the board for what would be probably an appropriate raising of the rental fees.
I definitely think it would be worthwhile, though, to know what the fees are at comparable fields, because, I mean, to your point, we're raising it to a point where it's higher than everybody else, we're going to end up losing potential income. So I think we have to be very careful with what we do there. So I would want to see a lot of data to help make that decision if that's something we want to move forward with.
Sure, I can work with Mr. Legath to reach out to the other districts to see if they rent their turf fields, because they may not. So that's one piece of information I think is important. And second, if they do, what is the fees that they charge? And then bring that back so you have that information. And then if you want to pursue raising the rental fees, you have the information to look at first.
And to confirm, we don't charge Exeter student programs rental fees.
According to Mr. Legath, our youth programs, I know youth football uses it, that we haven't been charging them.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, ayes have it, motion carries.
And that's the end of the Facilities and Transportation Committee.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Battler. Policy Committee with Mrs. Bloom.
It is recommended that the Board of School Directors approves the following policies, all second reading. Policy number 113.1, Discipline of Students with Disabilities. Policy number 113.2, Behavior Support. Policy number 218.1, Weapons. Policy number 218.2, Terroristic threats, and policy number 227, controlled substances paraphernalia.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Bloom. We're going to move on to Athletics and Extracurricular Activities Committee with Mr. Odom.
Thank you, Mr. Mel. Winter sports are in full swing, and come out and support the teams. Several teams are in tournaments over the Christmas break as well.
All right, thank you, Mr. Odom. Berks Career and Technology Center Joint Operating Committee and the Berks County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors, Mr. Fiddler.
Thank you, Mr. Mel. I want to report from the Berks Career and Technology Center, an outstanding article that appeared in your PSBA monthly magazine, or is it quarterly? I'm not sure. But it's on artificial intelligence, and it is a detailed picture of how Mike Stauffer and his folks, particularly Mike Stein, who is making himself available to the schools in Berks County to talk about AI in case people want to get started. I'll pass this around, but I want to read two quotes from Mike Stein under the subhead, A Tool for Teachers. One common misconception in education is that AI will replace teachers, Stein says. It is meant to enhance their work, not replace it. He also questions the impression that AI lacks accuracy and reliability, noting while it is true that AI can make mistakes, when used appropriately and with human oversight, it becomes a highly effective aid. And finally, some may see AI as hindering creativity, but Stein sees the opposite impact. AI can spark creativity by automating routine tasks, he said, freeing up more time for innovative thinking and exploration. So I encourage you to read it. If you don't have time tonight, it is in the latest issue of the magazine, and it really reflects the pioneering efforts at the BCTC of not just talking about AI, but actually implementing it for the good of the students and the programs. So, thank you. Oh, and BCIU, our next board meeting is Thursday.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fiddler. Okay, moving on to Legislative PSBA Liaison and Exeter Community Education Foundation with Mrs. Schaefer.
Thank you, Mr. Mel. I don't have anything to report from a legislative aspect, but I just do want to put it on the forefront that in January, we should be looking to readopt the PSBA Principles of Governance and Leadership. So that's something that we need to discuss at the COW. And as far as the ECF, we just had a wonderful presentation by Mrs. Cook, so I think that is all for my committees.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Schaefer. And Township Borough Liaison, Mr. Morgan.
There's a lot going on at the township right now. I don't think anything that directly pertains to the district, so to speak. So I am going to say that I do not have a report and come back in January and see if there's anything else.
Can I just make a comment towards that? There is a survey going around for the,
Has that been published by Exeter yet?
Yes, so the township, I believe, has, I know Amity has, and I thought Exeter Township might have shared it, but there is the joint, my gosh.
Seed?
Yes, yes, the joint comprehensive plan. Wow, I just had a real shift in my head there. I am turning, it's getting close. The age is ticking up. Yeah, so there is a survey that I believe somebody actually posted out to some various forums on social media. But that is something that I believe we had also had discussed with the planning to share that out with Parent Square, potentially to adults. So that might be something we want to reach out to the Berks County Planning Commission and just confirm that is something they still want us to do. But yeah, I think that kind of took us by surprise that the survey started leaking out already, because I hadn't heard anything about it.
Maybe I'll reach out to the township liaison for Exeter to see, this way we can share Exeter's rather than the Berks County, because want to make sure that whatever forum that Exeter puts it on, that we're using the same format.
Yep. That makes sense.
And that's, I think it's Jason, is it Jason Hunter?
Jason Hunter is on, he's the codes enforcer, and I'm not sure what his official title is there, but he's definitely part of the,
right. I'll start with
heading
him.
up the administrative side of the Planning Commission.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Okay, next will be public comments for non-agenda items. Again, no one has signed up unless someone would like to come up and speak. Okay, seeing none. Are there any board members that would like to be heard at this time?
I
Go
have
ahead,
a
Mr.
question. Speaking of surveys, didn't we do a survey at some point of of the district months ago? And I don't remember hearing what the results were.
Are you talking about for
public
employees or the
No,
public?
the community public opinion survey about what they felt about the district. And
You might be thinking of Devopar, the high school scheduling?
no, it was before that. It was a survey that was. We didn't. Okay.
I don't recall anything. Yes. Sorry, Mr. Fiddler, did you have any other questions?
No,
Okay.
I don't know why I'm thinking that we did a survey. I guess we didn't.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I can't think of anything that's awaiting that.
And
But
we had asked someone from BCIU to go through the results, Dan Richards.
yes, Dr. Richards, I should say, but that was the staff survey, I believe, at the
Oh, it was
buildings.
staff, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so I had staff
Yeah.
confused with public. So we did do a survey. but it was of the staff.
It was, yeah, it was not a community
And
survey.
where are we going to hear what the results were, or?
You're-
Maybe,
yeah.
oh, that was the one meeting I missed, I guess.
You might not have been here for that. You may have been sick, but Dr. Richards did present
Oh, he did.
the summary
Okay.
of the
My
of the results.
apologies.
Yeah,
I'll go back
no
to the
worries.
minutes. Do you remember when that was, roughly? 2 months, 3 months? I'll look for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, if someone could, from administration, wouldn't mind sending Mr.
Yeah,
Fiddler
I
a
would-
copy of
I
it.
believe it was last spring, but we'll make sure we
Okay.
get it.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hoyt. And Dr. Haller did have an announcement that she had from her end.
So we are finishing up the last of the scheduled capital projects. It's actually happening at the high school with the heating and cooling systems. So the high school and the surrounding area will be closed over the holiday break. You will see that there is a massive crane that will be operating there. And so we are required to shut down the building for almost those 2 weeks. And they'll be placing a huge chiller on a portion of the building. I'm not sure which side. But as a result of that and the type of work, we can't have anyone in the parking lots. We can't have people walking on the track. The whole area will essentially be closed off to the community. So we wanted to share that out at this meeting. Hopefully people are watching it, will hear this. And then what we will be doing for our families is when you go to our website, there'll be a pop-up that will also provide that same reminder, as well as any further information as with a map as to where the area will be blocked off. So that will be done after this meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Haller. Do you know, will a parent square also be going out to the community for?
Yes, Jen
district
Breton
parents?
has a parent
Okay.
square planned, and like I said, it'll pop up on our website.
Great, thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard? All right. Our next meeting will be our Committee of the Whole meeting on Tuesday, January 7th at 6 PM. If there are no objections, we'll adjourn.